Building a brand requires time and it requires a team. It's really rare that someone can do it all by themselves. So in this video, we're going to look at the best way to attract partners to grow your business. The partners that you need to succeed will depend on various factors. Of course, what industry you're in, what you can offer the partners, what they can offer you. But there's an exercise that works in every single niche. It's called the boardroom. The boardroom is a visualization exercise. Now, there's nothing weird or spooky about this. I'm just going to help you to see the future. I know that might sound a little bit odd, but here's the thing. If you can't imagine what might happen, what's the chances that it will happen? The chances are fairly remote. I want to help you to imagine a scenario. So here we go. 2 years from today, you're sat at the head of a table. There are 12 other chairs around this table. The door opens, people start to come in, they take their seats, and you realize that everyone is there for you. They're there to talk about your product launch, your new tour, your new charity project, whatever it is that you're offering your audience. And here's the question, who's in the room? Now, most people are flummoxed by this question. They don't know how to answer it. They've never done an exercise like this before. But here's the thing. If you can't imagine that team around the table, that team will never form. And this is why the boardroom is such an important exercise to do. So I help people by taking it step by step. We start by looking at the categories. So let's say I'm speaking to a music artist. This is my wheelhouse. I've been working in the music industry for many years. An artist might say, well, I can see a record company, a publisher. I can imagine having a booking agent, a social media manager, maybe a charity partner. Perhaps I'm a brand ambassador for a clothing company. The list can go on and on and on. But you can't stop at categories. You have to know the companies. So if we're thinking about record companies, perhaps we need to narrow it down to Sony, Warner, Universal. Well, actually, we need to go further. We need to look at the different imprints within these companies. But you need to go a level even deeper. You need to know the names of the key people, because you don't build a relationship with a label or Sony. You build a relationship with the A&R person who works at the label. That's the person that's going to introduce you to the president of the company. The key decision makers are often actually the accountants, lawyers, and the marketing managers. They decide on who gets signed to the company, who they partner with. It's really important to understand precisely who's going to be around the table. You need to headhunt people to form a winning team. You don't want to say yes to any opportunity that comes along. You want to imagine the ideal partners and build relationships with those people. Having started to unpack this powerful process, I then invite artists, brands, and creators to draw up their dream partners list. Now, if you can think of 20 categories, which is normally quite easy when you think about blogs, publications, YouTube channels, distribution partners, lawyers, accountants, publicists, social media companies, etc., etc., etc. With 5 companies in each category, your list is 100 contacts long already. Most people's lists should end up being 300, 400, even 500. The key is to find the right partners, not just any old partner. And then I get hit with the question, Andy, how do I make connections with these people? So now you've identified the people that you like on your team, you need to go through a 3-step approach: research, reach out, relationship. Research will enable you to fine-tune and add to your list. Perhaps you start with online directories, actually doing some Google searches. But then you need to look at other competitors, people in your industry. Who are they working with? Look at the mega successful people, although their partners might be very expensive or only work with people at the very top. Have a look then at people a step, 2 steps, maybe 3 steps ahead of you. If you can, get recommendations from friends, collaborators, competitors in the industry. Do your homework. Find out who the dream partners are for you. In terms of reaching out to people, this can be difficult because everyone's inbox is bombarded with sales, marketing, and people vying for their attention. So you need to stand out in their inbox if you're sending an email. Think about your subject line. If it's really dull and boring, they probably won't open it, or they open it not expecting much. Make sure you have a really compelling line to hook them in. Pick up the phone, make the effort, send something in the post to their office. I remember driving 100 miles to go to an event because there was a connection that I really wanted to make. This guy was mega successful, multimillionaire businessman. Now, I drove to this event, I made a connection with him, and he invited me to have lunch with him, and he gave me some really useful advice. It's worth getting out of the office. It's worth making the effort. You need to stand out from the crowd when you reach out to people. And finally, you need to build relationships with people. It doesn't happen instantaneously. You can't force relationships. You have to think about value that you're adding to the other side as well. That's how you create a long-lasting, valuable partnership. Persistence is also a key ingredient. I remember when I was 21 years old, I had a song featured on a BBC One programme. It was such an amazing opportunity. I was so pleased. I'd be pleased today if that happened now. And I kept in touch with the senior producer who'd been so kind and encouraging and told me that he liked my work. I sent him an email to say thank you. I didn't hear anything back, but I thought I should try again. I waited 6 months or so, sent him another email. Didn't hear back. Then I decided to email him again after about a year. Didn't hear back. I emailed him again several times over several years. I didn't bombard him with messages, literally probably one every 6 to 9 months. After 5 years, I got a message from his office and he decided to book Philippa, who I was managing, for another programme with the BBC. He thanked me at that shoot for keeping him up to date with what had been happening with my business. And I was thinking, goodness, I didn't even know that he read the emails. You have to be persistent. The people you build relationships with today might be the leaders of the future. It's important to maintain those relationships and don't burn your bridges unless it's absolutely necessary. In preparing for a trip to Nashville, I realized that it was 10 years ago I started developing relationships with a couple of executives who now are presidents of major companies. It's important to maintain relationships, make the effort, try to be a useful person, be encouraging, be fun. Don't just be self-seeking in your engagements with people. That will take you a lot further in terms of building partnerships.